fellas, here we go. Weather's getting nice. It's time to start building on the truck. So we're going to get into phase 3. So what is phase 3 going to entail? We got a cage. It's going to be a 10-point. It's pre-bent. It's like a Summit action. With the price of that compared to the price of metal and the price of me messing up a whole bunch of bins and having to use a bunch of material, I think it makes sense to go that route. Still a lot of customization I have to do to make it work. So it's going to be a lot of work either way. And I just prefab, pre-bent. And hopefully, you know, it'll fit okay. So anyways, we'll see when it comes. So that'll be like later this week or next week or something like that. So gonna be the cage. We're gonna redo rock sliders. All right, so here we go. So on the sliders, I went down and got some metal. So this is a Schedule 40. All right, so it's a Schedule 40. It's like a 150 wall action. And it's right around 2 inches. It's a little bigger than 2 inches since it's an inner diameter kind of thing on the Schedule 40. So anyways, like I said, I got 3 sticks, so like 60 feet, and I figured that this would be plenty strong enough for the standoffs off of the frame and to make the slider. Back on the truck tonight, and you know, you got to do all the boring stuff before you can get to the cool stuff. So got the doors off. Got basically everything out except for the sound deadening stuff, which I'm gonna hate to have to tear up. So hopefully I don't have to tear up too much. But anyway, so that's all out. The coming back here, everything's kind of off. The tank, batteries out, all that stuff. So it's ready to come out. So tomorrow I'll hoist it off, put it on my trailer, get it out of the garage. That way we ain't got this fuel tank right here while we're welding and stuff. So then tomorrow night, get out here, basically cut these sliders off, clean up the frame where the plates are at, and then I'm probably going to do the cage first because it actually came in today. Dude, I ordered it on Tuesday and it's already here, and it came like FedEx freight. Isn't that awesome? Anyway, so it's here. I'm going to do that first, and then that way I can make sure that any of my stuff that connects to the frame is not going to, like, the slider stuff isn't going to be in the way. So we will do that. Fellas, here's your Saturday morning update. I'm gonna do more work tonight, but just got out this morning. Last night I didn't do any work because I crashed on the couch. But anyways, so windshield's out, back window's out, and I hoisted the tank off. So that's out of here. So now, we can get to cutting and grinding and welding and stuff. But one thing I think I might do is make some hard mounts, take the bushings out and just build something there. That way the frame can be hard mounted. My plan is to bring the bar down, plate it underneath, and then run a stand to the frame. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. Now that all this stuff's out of the way, I can really get out here and just start looking at it, figuring out what I'm gonna do. So yeah, and then got the cage out the back of the truck. So here's that. So the hoop and the halo and all that stuff. So we'll get busy. So I spent a lot of time figuring out where I wanted to cut the holes. Obviously it had to be back up here on this step. Couldn't be too far back because then, it might hit, there's a radius here, and then this comes out. So I wanted it to be, exactly where I wanted it. So anyways, took a lot of time to do that. I cut the hole big. I did a 2-inch hole saw. That way there would be room for a little bit of movement. I could do a little trimming, do a little side to side. I think I'm really close actually. And that's gonna be about how it's gonna sit. I want it to be as tall as possible, like as close as possible. And then when I weld it, I wanna have the holes, that way I could drop it down. You know what I'm saying? And then do all the welding, and then, we can go from there. You can see how long this thing really is. And that's why I didn't really wanna go cutting it up, because I'd rather put it in place, see what I'm working with, make sure everything's cool before I start cutting it up. It's a ratchet strap and good time that I hope all of you get to experience one day. It's pretty awesome. Anyhow, so coming together, I ended up using my seat belt where the seat belts mount. I ran a bolt out to tack it. That way I could get it level, front to back. And then also, it holds it tight up here when I'm ratchet strapping and doing stuff like that. And then the plate, just tacked in the plate, tacked in there, and then I cut a hole, obviously, in the plate, so it'll be welded all around once it's done. But we got to loosen the tacks and weld and all that stuff. Anyway, so the halo is going pretty well. Only issue with the halo that I had so far is that that side over there was a little bit long. I ended up having to trim it back a little bit more than a ½ inch. And now everything's good to go. All right, so this is how she's looking. So I think what I'm gonna end up doing is running this bar, or the halo, a little bit uphill. I probably got like another ½ inch or so, you know, like my finger's worth that I could go up. And I think I'm gonna do that. I simulated the height with the seat and stuff, watched some videos of where my head's at, and I think it's gonna be fine. But I think that I'll probably, once I cut the tacks and weld it, I'll just try to go up as high as I can. So I'll try to keep the same distance right here in the front, and then that way when I'm all done after I weld it, I can just push it all the way up, you know, to where it's damn near touching the roof. So that's my plan. So tonight I'll get out here and start coping the tube, notch it out, get the halo on, and then we'll start working on our A-pillars. So last night I started by putting the seat in. I wanted to make sure it would be fine. It is. It actually wraps around quite nice. Ended up tacking in the support strut just to make sure the seat does touch it like that, but it's at a good spot, kind of where it was before. If it moved it, it's just like a scotch, you know what I mean? So then I came out, I tried to see if I could get my crossbar going, but it wouldn't work with the placement. So it was kind of over here a little bit. So I ended up moving it over here. And now I feel way better. It's easier to get in and out. I think it's gonna make it easier once I put the door bars in. And then now, yeah, I got my windshield bar. So hell to the yeah. So we'll do some more tonight. All right, fellas, here we go. So I got the harness bar in, and yeah, it's kind of high, a little higher than you think it might be, but I'm super tall, so it kind of is what it is. And then you can see where the bend is. I try to keep it as close to the bend as possible, but it's kind of where it ended up. I don't know, I think it'll be all right. It's kind of where it had to go. I guess in retrospect, I could have put it down here and ran like a separate bar across, but I don't know. We'll see. It's just tacked in for now. So, all right, we'll keep going. Let me know if you see anything wrong with it. All right. All right, fellas, here we go. We're doing some tape mock-up, figure out how our tube's gonna go. I'll let you kind of see. You can get an idea of how things are gonna be. Obviously, we wanna create as many nodes as possible and get some triangulation in there, obviously some spreaders. You see in the back bar, it's got the spreader. Alternatively, I would like to run like a diagonal from there to there, bottom all the way up there, but I can't do it because my head would hit it. And then so on the inside here, obviously that side, it's gonna have a door bar, and then we're gonna try to get a couple triangles out of the inside. You can see there, that way it supports the bend. Just as much triangulation as I can get. Obviously everything's gonna be gusseted, and then we'll have our runners that come down the back here. So anyways, let me know what you think. I fellas figured I'd bring you in, show you where we're at. It's a slow process, but we're getting there. So if I didn't mention it before, I was working earlier this week on solid mounting the body, so that's all done. And then now it's more focusing on the cage. So been cutting a lot of tube for gussets. So I got a lot of tube already cut. I just have to notch it and, make it fit as good as possible. And so that's the goal, not be leaving any big gaps and stuff. So that's what I've been working on. So I will bring you in tonight. Hopefully we'll be further, probably another couple gussets, and then more from there. Fellas, here we go, bring you in. So this is what I come up with on the roof. Didn't have much time to work this weekend. So got out tonight, busted that out. I think they're close enough together. And then obviously we're gonna have the spreader that comes up underneath this bar and comes up underneath that bar. And we'll be good to go. And then we'll add some triangulation down here. I tried to do the X behind my head, but it was just like my head would hit it. So I didn't wanna roll with it. So what I'm gonna do is when I do my down bars in the back, my strut bars or whatever, I'm gonna bring them down and try to do an X on those. We'll see how it comes out. So kind of started the welding process. Last few nights, it's just been really making gussets, so nothing really to update, but you know, those things take a while. And then started doing some welding and stuff, just as much as I can. I think I can probably get all of it without dropping it, but I'm just doing everything that I can, and then if it's really tight, then I'll drop it down and get it welded. But so I'm gonna bring these in tighter, and then I'm gonna get everything welded on the inside, and then once that's done, I'm gonna add my rear strut bar, so it's gonna be like a triangle coming down. And I think it'll work out okay. And then I'm still trying to figure out if I'm gonna do an X or not in here. I'm working on that. But but yeah, it's coming along. So hell yeah, that's where my gussets are gonna be, right there. And then got gussets right there. So yeah, man, coming along. Dropped. So I got everything welded that I could. Cut all the tacks and everything, dropped it down. So now I'm gonna weld a couple of the spots that I couldn't get to on the top. Make them all good, and then we'll get it up as high as we can. And well, actually, I'm gonna cut the cab for the down bars in the back, the strut bars. And then yeah, we'll get rolling on that. So I'm gonna take a break and then come back out. We'll see what we can get done today. Maybe start on my strut bars in the back, but I got to make some plates for the frame to where I'm gonna locate that, and put a little thought into it. So hell to the yeah, we're coming along. A ton of welding, but I went around it like 3 times and found a couple things. So got it all. Everything's welded. I'm gonna go over one more time real quick, just make sure I missed nothing. But yeah, I thought everything came out pretty well. You know, I did it in a slow process just to make sure, you know, like it could save my life one day. So you know, everywhere that I could get it really good, I got it really good. And then the spots I couldn't, I made sure to take my time and lay down some good stuff. So, you know, no boogers, no none of that, you know what I mean? Like, it got laid down, and it's gonna be all good. So, yeah, man. So I'm going to get some ratchet straps on it and lift it into place, and then figure out where I need to drill my holes in the cab, and then we're just gonna go from there. So I'm gonna get on that now, and we'll see what happens. All right, have a good night. All right, so you can see it from the front now that I have it strapped up. So I got about 1 inch-ish, maybe a little more in the front, that I was able to go up with it. So that is nice, and it's sitting in there pretty good. So you can see how it like tucks up there really nice. And then you can see my original line. So right about 1 inch. And then in the front, my original line. So yeah, she's gonna sit in there. She's gonna sit in there pretty good. So I'm liking it. I'm digging it. And I think it'll work out. So now I gotta figure out where to drill my holes in the cab. And then once I do that, then I can lower it, put some paint on the top and stuff, and then get my rear strut bars in. So it's quite the process, but it's coming along. Cab drilled. We've got some nice triangles coming back here. I'm gonna do a crossbar here, and then obviously some more, like probably tube gussets or something. And then my spare tire is gonna sit up on here, and I'm gonna do a crossbar and then weld some tabs, you know, for straps, so I can strap my spare in. You know, nothing, I don't really like the whole drop down method. Kind of dig it like this, and then yeah. So today I'm working on my shock mount location, since you remember my other ones, and they were a little bit too short, so I need to go up higher. And then my buddy gave me these Bilsteins, so I'm not sure which way they go, but they're like a 14-inch, I think, travel. So I think I did like 5 up, the rest down, something like that. But hell yeah, well, let me know what you think. We got more to come. Keep you posted. But this is what we got going on. So we've got our back bars that come down there. They make a nice triangle. They come back here. You can see we got a tube going down for the shock, and you know, we'll add some supports to it, and then you know, a bunch of gussets and stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's far from done, but it's coming along. And then let me show you what we got going on here. We got frame plate, 2x4 box tubing. This sits down on top, gonna have a nice gusset right here. And then in the front, you can see I ended up having to use tube just the way it was going, but tube's pretty good, nice and thick. And I think it'll hold up once we do some gusseting. Wanted to do the floor flange plate with the bolts and stuff, but it wasn't going to work out. And then how often do you take the cab off anyways? And then I fitted the fenders and everything to make sure, you know, the cab was in alignment, and you know, this is where it's going to be. And we're just a couple sawzall cuts away from, you know, taking it off if we have to, but we shouldn't have to. So how it works is this sits over the body mount, basically, like, so this section right here kind of sits over the body mount area. And I like that. So it's going to tie to the body. It's going to tie to the frame. Same in the back. Body goes down, hits the frame. So all that'll be welded up. And then, all right, so I wanted to come up with a way to attach it to the frame. So what I got, I'm going to have these support bars coming down from the bend. They support the bend here. They come down. And I wanted to keep the, like the bolster, like that's under here, the support for the cab intact as much as possible. And I figured the best way, after kind of looking and thinking about it, would be to have this come down and hit the frame. And then we got some nice big plates on either side. They'll be all welded in. And then the bars will come down and intersect on here. And then we'll obviously have a down bar too, and a spreader up top. That should kind of wrap up the cage. And then I'll show you this here. So that just goes right through the hole on the cross member. And I think the cross is like 3/16, so it's nice and strong. And it's gusseted in because my link's attached to it. So it's going to work out, I think. So I'll be able to weld it most of the way around there and all the way on the bottom. So hell yeah. All right, here you go. So we're starting to weld it in. So this is like 2 1/4 inch. It's like 150 wall, the tube. And then I got a piece of quarter welded to the top and ground flat, because I'm going to have a bar that's going to come down and sit towards the front of it. And then the 2 bars are going to come down on the side. But welding that up, starting to, and then here, you know, getting my settings right so that way I can weld on this thin stuff. But, you know, as long as it holds it pretty good, you know, as good as it's going to get. So going to keep rolling on it, get this done. And then I got to weld it to the cross member there. And I'll probably put a little bit around here and then weld it off from the bottom. And hell yeah, it should come out. So tell me what you think. Or don't, I don't know. But anyways, like it. So everything up to here is welded, and it was quite the process. Let me tell you, I got the flux treatment because it holds metal together, and I ain't fooling with no bottle at home. So anyways, it's all good. So only thing we really got left, we got the door bars left to do that go from up there to down there. And then I want to do a couple tube gussets, one here, one on the other side. And then after that, it's just going to be a lot of like plate gussets, you know, like 1/8 inch stuff, you know, on these frame plates and, you know, everywhere. So then this comes down, goes through, you know, it's welded to the plate, welded to the body, goes down, the body's solid mounted. It goes down to some 2x4 box tubing. The front goes down to some tube. This tube here, it goes down through the cross member, welded up in there. So then that's basically frame right there. So I don't know. I'm trying to give it a fighting chance. I think it'll be fine. It's got plenty of gussets, plenty of triangles, plenty of support. So we'll see what happens. Next step was to add the seat bars. Pretty simple. Just come from the rear hoop and meet down at the floor there. And kind of deleted my video of that so you get pictures. So then we got going on sliders. This is the schedule 42 inch. It's like 150 wall. We got the standoffs to 1/4 inch frame plates. And then we added an outer tube, which is 1 3/4 inch, 120 wall. And then we capped it and angled it. And so far it's been holding up great. I haven't had any issues with it. Then I padded all the bars up, anything what my head would come in contact with, added the harness, and then you can see it here going to the first trip, you know, how it looked inside. We're wrapping this one up. You guys take it easy. We'll catch you on the next one.